Michael was known in his community as a man who scoffed at faith. He was a successful businessman, confident in his ability to navigate life without the help of God or religion. "Faith is for the weak," he often said, dismissing his wife's gentle reminders to join her at church. His wife, Grace, a devoted Christian, prayed for him daily, hoping that one day he would experience the joy and peace she found in her faith. One Saturday evening, Grace invited Michael to a revival service at her church. He reluctantly agreed, not wanting to disappoint her. One evening won't hurt, he thought, but he had no intention of changing his ways. He sat at the back of the church, arms crossed, his skepticism evident. The guest speaker that evening was a man named Pastor Emmanuel, a former drug addict who had turned his life around through faith. His story was raw and moving, filled with tales of darkness, despair, and redemption. Michael found himself strangely captivated, though he tried to appear uninterested. Then came a moment that Michael would never forget. Pastor Emmanuel looked directly at him, as though he could see into his soul. "There are some of you here tonight," he said, "who think you have everything under control. You rely on your strength, your intellect, and your wealth. But deep down, you know there's an emptiness that nothing in this world can fill." Michael felt a lump in his throat. He had spent years building his business empire, earning accolades and wealth, but he couldn't deny the void he often felt when he was alone. He thought of the nights he lay awake, questioning the purpose of it all, but he had always brushed those thoughts aside. As the service continued, the choir sang a hymn, "Amazing Grace." The words pierced Michael's heart. "I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see." He felt tears streaming down his face, surprising even himself. In that moment, he realized he had been running from something far greater than himself. When the pastor invited anyone who wanted to surrender their lives to Christ to come forward, Michael hesitated. His pride urged him to stay seated, but his heart yearned for the peace he saw in Grace and the others around him. Slowly, he stood up and walked to the front, trembling. Grace watched in awe, tears of joy streaming down her face. That night, Michael knelt at the altar and prayed for the first time in his life. He admitted his doubts, his fears, and his need for something greater than himself. As he stood up, he felt a weight lift off his shoulders, replaced by a sense of peace he had never known. From that day forward, Michael's life changed. He began attending church regularly, studying the Bible, and serving the community. His business practices also transformed. He started treating his employees with kindness and integrity, seeing his work as a way to glorify God. Michael's story became a testimony that inspired many in the community. He often shared it with others, emphasizing this lesson. No matter how far you've strayed or how skeptical you are, God's grace is always waiting to meet you where you are. Through Michael's journey, the community learned that faith is not a crutch for the weak, but a bridge to purpose, peace, and transformation. His story reminded them that God can use even the most unlikely person to showcase His love and power. Subscribe and share for more inspiring stories and futuristic tales of hope and humanity.